Let's focus in on the game because game number 2 is underway and we have a Zhuji outpost rush against the Malians. One and all, welcome back to the quarterfinals. Anatan versus Dumu. Game number 1. A resounding defense from Dumu to get the win. It's going to take a resounding defense here because he's got defensive buildings from his opponent in his base. Anatan with the old classic Rax rush against the Malians. Whew. Bit of a stinger as well. Look at this placement. I feel like I've been here before. The good old deja vu double outpost coverage on gold. We see this a lot from Zhuji actually at the moment. I think in the last 2 weeks of Skarsgård, this has happened 3 times against Malians. Zhuji is just a phenomenal pick on this map, by the way. Malians has been picked because it's popular for the Pro Scouts play, but Zhuji are just as good for that same play. They get their unlock timing very aggressively. Anatan's is admittedly a bit delayed, but that's because he went for this outpost rush. And he's not stopping there. We've got additional spears being spammed. Oh, wow. So he's going to try to block the deer gathering with spears, which is pretty ballsy considering how fast warrior scouts are. Did go for a very simple meditation gun in the end, by the way. 36 food, 25 stone. Nothing crazy, but that's what you kind of expect. This map is not good for Zhuji because meditation guns are good. It's good for Zhuji because Pro Scouts is strong. And also, the map has this linear feel on approach to it that means Zhuge Nu can hit quite well. Sure, Nika. I mean, people watching the stream definitely helps. For those that don't know that much about the world of, like, you know, sponsorship sourcing and whatever, bigger numbers equal better. It's weird in some ways because you'd think, oh, wow, like, if the value of 100 viewers is more than this value of 500, yes, there is an argument for that if you have the right contacts, but also you need to open the door. And you know what opens the door? Big, flashy numbers. So if we can continue to grow the AoE4 scene, become like hopefully a pillar of the esports side of things, I feel confident that we can start bringing in sponsors, which is going to lead to bigger prize pools, more things happening weekly, and eventually me being able to put even more hours into this because I'll be able to provide for my fam. So yeah, win, 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 win. I think that was it 3 wins or 4 wins? I think it was 3. But winning that many times is a 4th win on itself. This, by the way, is starting to look like a win for Anno. This is a really solid beginning. He's got the fortification coming in, so this outpost is going nowhere. After which, remember, he did put the Medigarden on the stone. That was intentional for this play. He can get hand cannon slits as a follow-up. Then, good luck dealing with this tower. Dumu needs to just consider going into a blacksmith play if he really wants to get rid of this cleanly, because right now, blobbing units to go for a dive is not going to work now that it's got an extra 5 fire armor and an extra 1,000 health. Survival techniques also coming in, so Dumu, what does he want to do here? There is a world, actually, in which he just blobs units and goes up with Farimba, but he doesn't have the right comp for it. His opponent has built Spears Horsemen, which encourages Donzos and Archers. This is literally the worst composition to have if you want Farimba on the table. If your opponent had built Zhuge Nu, for example, you could go Javelins. You could scale Javelins. You get to 30 Javelins, and Man's Javelineers look OP, right? You just tech up with Farimba. You don't have that option. I think this is like a tricky part with the Farimba build right now. I've said this before, that Farimba can't really be rushed. It doesn't feel good rushing. Maybe situationally with some freeborn builds, but even then it feels very hit or miss. So you're left with 2 choices then. Mansa Musafadi. When are you ever building Mass Musafadi in Feudal Age? Or Javelineers, Mansa Javelineers. That requires a very specific set of conditions over a prolonged feudal to even dream of going Farimba. So what does that leave us? That leaves us with Dumu eventually trying to go Castle Age for the good old Fulani. But that gives a big window of opportunity here for Anatan to do damage. Nice to know as well. Scouts not able to easily bring back the deer, the horseman mass, big enough to keep mirroring them. We have got spears bloating as well, and I wonder if Anatan is contemplating castle. Would make a lot of sense from this position. You just go for a Castle Age rush, and then you go into mass PG. But instead, noticing his opponent has gone too hard into Archers and Donzos, Anatan is going Zhug. Now, this is very cool. If he hides the play until about 15 to 20 Zhug, at that point, Dumu's not going to have enough time to prep Javelins. It's all about the timing on this attack, folks. This is a good way of hiding it. Don't even move them. So they can start marching over. Yeah, I wonder if Anno kind of regrets not keeping the villager here now. He could have built a proxy base, right? And then had him gathering lumber the entire time to pay for additional buildings. Definitely would have been worth it, because when you want to play into mass infantry, which is kind of where we're trending with Zhuge, you want to have that timing, right? You want to be able to use all your army straight away. Because Zhuge, of course, are one of the slowest units you're going to be able to build in this game. It takes a long time for them to arrive. Extra palace guard as well. Cool idea, but your opponent is building sofas. Another interesting thing is if you hide this detail, yeah, Steeled Arrow. Think about the timings here, guys. Dumu does not have a blacksmith. He does not have the means to rush Undermesh into blacksmiths. Anatan can rush it if he wants to. He's already queued it up, right? 20 seconds to get Steeled Arrow. One interesting thing to keep in mind, though, is you will know when your opponent has it if you pay attention. Anno may have made a mistake on the timing here, because if Dumu clicks on the outpost, he'll see +1. It's a little cool tip there. If you want to know if your opponent has those techs in this position, this is how you reveal it without even diving. Being said, goes in anyway, as you can do. Scare him away. So Dumu now aware, immediately queues up the Undermesh. By the way, the reason why this is getting the plus damage, someone's going to probably query this because it's a fair point. That's a gunpowder shot. Why the hell is it getting plus damage when this only affects damage of arrows and bolts? That's a little bit of a loophole, actually, in AoE4, is that static emplacements benefit. So a spring on emplacement also gets the increase, which makes sense because it's ranged. But the more interesting one is that a cannon emplacement will also get its damage buffed by blacksmith damage increases. Hence why you'll sometimes see a nice cannon emplacement sitting there with 73 damage. Dimu now trying to go pretty hard into archers, but I love that he's gradually building his sofa. Just not sure if it's quick enough here. Anno's army does look quite scary. Even though they're neck and neck on military count, you just feel like they're worth 1.5x per unit. Another scary thing is if Dimu misreads his timing and doesn't apply pressure, Anno has two options, right? He can continue to blob and just reach critical mass for the dive, or he can be teching, which is just as dangerous here. Especially when you're trying to now blob Sofa. Sofa at this stage of the game are pretty flimsy. They've only got 3 ranged armor, which means these Zhuge are already doing 6 damage per hit. And in the veterancy, and you are in hell. Because at that stage, they hit you for, I believe it's 12 per strike. Or round of strikes, should we say. Dimu. I think he's just trying to poke out for a little bit more deer here, right? Aware that this could last a long time sitting underneath this thing. I'm not really seeing the clear out. He's starting to save for an age up, but we have no ranches at all. And while veterancy is nice and only takes 30 seconds for the Malians to get, your opponent is at your door already. And he's going to tech up sooner. Yeah, I wonder if it would have worked a bit better just to bloat ranches and have more Sofa coming. And there's the build. It's happening. It's Mount Lu Academy. This is the Palace Guard Zerg. So for those that haven't seen it yet, because no one has executed it correctly, because so far every player trying to do so has accidentally forgotten to resupervise. There is a tech in here that increases your supervision on production buildings from 150% buff to 300%. It doesn't work unless you unsupervise if you're already supervising when it completes, though. We've seen, I think, 3 games in midweek muster, maybe 2, where players have done this build, and every time they forget to resupervise, so they don't increase the production rate. But right there, regional inspection takes you from 150% to 300%. Really solid build, but we'll see if he even bothers to rush for it, because for now, it's all about the Zhuge Nu. Remember, the way this build typically works when it looks OP is you are rushing Castle, Raw, and you go PG, right? Go Palace Guard. He has Zhuge, so it's a little bit different for him here. But it is going to be a play down the line. For now, the boys get ready to march in. Veterancy just kicked in. We are now up to 7 damage per strike. These Sofas need their upgrade stat. 20 seconds away. Dive coming in into the choke points. I know. Is he hesitating here? It looks like he backs away. Doesn't like what he sees. I wouldn't either. Did he glance that and go, oh? Yo, you guys have seen like that meme gif where Jay-Z opens the door, has a look of disgust and leaves? That's this. That Fulani is as naked and bald as Dumu's head, man. Oh my god. He actually done it, the madman. I mean, he needs to, right? If he stayed H2 against veteran Zhugnu, he would have just died. His only choice was to take this horrible tech that gives nothing in terms of food right now. We have the first cows coming out, but for some reason they're rallying to the front of the bait. I mean, this kind of says everything it needs to about Farimba, right? Farimba sucks this much. He has nothing. No reason to build Fulani right now. He has an army that's 72 large, and still Farimba is of no value here. With 3 different unit types, Farimba still serves no purpose. Flash coming in now. Has at least got his veterancies right. Spearmen, meanwhile, aren't upgraded. Anatan, a little bit greedy and ambitious with this reach. Yeah, I think maybe he went a little bit too soon here. Where's the rush? It's going to be a switch afterwards, right? Zhuge clearing the way at least. And we do have PG on the way with the regional inspection. Ranch is now coming. Dumu, he could still win this. And it would be quite the egg on Anatan's face if he does so this way. Crossbows being queued, PG coming, but slowly. Sofa just buying so much time with that imported armor, right? The Zhug just not as impactful as they should be. Getting reduced down to the minimum. It's unfortunate as well because he did go bolt magazines, which would have been perfect for clearing the Donzo. May still be able to do so. Last and Sofa are flopping. Remember, the bolt magazines gives you extra range, but it also gives you plus damage against these Donzos. Meaning this unit with just 1 ranged armor is actually getting hit for a pure 21 on 120 health. Pretty damn good trade. So we better mop them up. It does have the chase capabilities onto these archers. Remember, Palace Guard are that fast, but can't be tricking them in here. Regional inspection is in. He is not re-supervised, so we are just looking at the 9-second production speed when it should be down to 6. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Anatan earlier in this week that didn't re-supervise, so kind of no surprise that it's happening again here. Lance is down the way. Well, Dumu's done a bloody good job, guys. We have a game. I thought this was over, but look at him now. 3 ranches full. Ben, he can win this in 2. Really, really good position to be in right now. Anno needs to get an advantage, and I think he might just have to consider 2 TC. The passive stone has added up. He's not too far off having one via that. He's up to 60 eco, could definitely afford to go onto it. Instead, he's like, I've got 1 more strike in mind. 1 more timing. We're up to 14 Palace Guard, and we're still pumping. What a game. I can't believe this. I mean, this is interesting as well. Like, if you think about the way this is played, Dumu twice now has been forced into a very defensive formatting to open these games. And if he wins this series, he'll be going up against Vortex, one of the most aggressive players we have in AoE4. Purest form of attacker versus defender could be coming our way. So the Palace Guard switch has really been revealed in its full entirety, so good Sofa raid there. Still pressure trying to be applied to the forward, but the count isn't crazy, right? 12 Zhug, 11 crossbows. I mean, archers should be able to fight that. Dumu seems to be a little bit hesitant, though. Mustafani switch now underway. Veterancy is coming in. Dumu. Mansa Musafadi actually Mansa, normal Musafadi kind of solves everything here, right? You go normal Musafadi, you can beat the Palace Guard, you can beat the crossbows. He just needs to make sure he's got enough food and gold to blob them, but this is his win condition. The question now is whether he's got the time. We're not very deep into the formation yet. Anatan, meanwhile, is already prepping himself for a switcheroo into the farms. Zhang Tao coming through, and with it, he's also now going for the relics. Yeah, so 2 available in the mid-map. He's already set up the dock, so he'll be able to play onto the center islands, pick all these up. Remember, Skaargård puts 3 of the 5 relics on the islands. So you have to go for a dock to reach them. Lance just sniffing at what's happening back here. I mean, this is where it's worth pivoting in to see if he's actually got the full ranch going. Because, of course, Anatan didn't confirm it. Probably suspects it by now, though. Palace Guard and crossbow showing up. Dumu has to survive this, but it's got to be said that Musafadi count does not look damn impressive. Frontline already failing him. The Palace Guard, they don't even have the melee tech here. They've got no extra layer of defense or damage outside of the ranged. Still enough to push him back, though. Dumu down to just 9 sofas here. Anatan, a healthy backline that can contest. 24 crossbows, 19 juke. Ready to zerg. So Dumu's going to try to pressure again because he needs the gold. Yeah, this is do or die. Guys, he already tapped the back line. Going sofa requires gold. If he can't stand here, it's over. And Anatan realizes that he reads it correctly. He's going in. And remember, he also has the hand cannon slip, which is already killing villagers here. Reaches them, shoves them back, and shoves Dumu back in his corner. Wow. I mean, what a way for this to swing. This looked done. I thought Dumu had just locked it in at this stage. But he has a huge gold issue here. And not just that, Anatan, it wasn't about the relics. He already went for an archership first to stop Dumu now going onto the water islands for gold. Which means Dumu's only choice is this location. The double gold vein, the only thing left on his side that he can access. Nano about to make it harder. More outposts coming up from a guy who already has passive stone to generate more emplacements. A granary transition coming behind this to guarantee that he never runs out of food. And a wall to guarantee that he never runs out of villages. See a little wall attempt here. And, oh, Dumu just discovered it's 2TC. This is his first time seeing this, right? He might have suspected it, but now he has confirmation. This puts him officially on the clock. So far, are going to be able to do a bit of chip damage here. But it's 2TC versus 1, and you are a Malian player without gold. Yeah, you can only build archers. And I really mean only. Funnily enough, Anno could just blob Juganu to get a win here. He's actually choosing to go Palace Guard, and we also now have Grenadiers on the way. We don't see them often, but they're really cool as a support unit when they come out. Remember, they have the hard case bombings that give a damage amp buff on enemies they hit, so they take 15% more damage. And it's also an AoE unit, right? If your opponent's blobbing, it's going to do more damage. I actually think Farimba is great in Imp with Mansurf. Yeah, but this is the problem. Like, people theory crafted that Farimba is good in Imp, but you're on a Civ that peaks in Castle. So yeah, you can make your Imperial strong, but by making your Imperial strong, you make your Castle trash. On a Civ that thrives in Castle. It doesn't conceptually make sense, right? This is the problem with Farimba. Like I said, it only makes sense in a very specific situation where you're justified in building either Javelins in mass or Musafadi. And those situations have become a lot rarer. Because Javelins are so impressive that if your opponent is countered by it, they play out from the counter. So you stop building Javelins. And Musafadi, when are you ever building 30 Musafadi in Feudal Age? Villagers at the front line. Is he really out of food as well? Kind of looking like it. He's going for a keep drop. He's going to try to secure that gold. Well, you are going to live or die by this play. We've got siege workshops on the front line already. Anatan almost anticipating it, it seems. And this is only one granary so far. That's reliable income for him. Does need to mop up those 2 sofas, though. Feels like Anno may be backing up a little bit too much. However, that is 87 archers. Yeah, at this point, I don't really think Poison Arrow is even worth it. Like, everything's just dead by then anyway. If only it worked on Outpost. Dive comes in, and look at that keep drop. Dumu making a claim here. This is my god. Wait, does boiling oil do siege damage, right? So you technically... No, I don't know if we're even going to get there. The dive comes in. Anno has to commit to the fight. Toxic Archers trying to do the best they can, but the Zhuge Numas is still big and scary here. Castle does go up, but next to a siege workshop, and also the double hand cannon slits can just target these villagers down. Dubu, he needs to get rid of these. Anno is going to give him the space, but maybe not for long. We do see him also gathering stone here. Additional outpost coming up. We also have Nest of Bees on the way to provide that stinger. Dumu does get a new pit mine up. Villagers are going to be pulled for the burn. Wait, what if he just... Hold on a second. Does he just... He could. He actually could on this timing. Nest of Bees may come out at the literal perfect moment. Dumu goes to the second. This is it. No, it comes out the south side. Villagers are going to be safe for now. Nest of Bees goes down. Anatan, he didn't rally at fourth there. Could have got a big hit. Still feels like a big hit, though. Look at this. Dumu, the valiant effort. But in the end, look at that archer lead disintegrate. 40 Zhuge versus 51 archers. Has at least got sofas coming into this now. But remember, behind this, it's 2 TC. Essentially, Dumu is on the clock. This is meant to be his time to strike. When he has a full army. The effects of that, at this stage, are questionable in comparison, right? It's 89 to 63 villages. You've got a 4th relic now on the way home for Anno. Dumu needs to do damage. Damn, that was so close to a disaster. I mean, admittedly, 1 Nest of Bees would clear the villages, but if you get a second flurry out, a reload, let's say Dumu doesn't quite notice it. I mean, he should, really, but if he didn't, that would have been an extra 20 villages down. Looks like the sofas are finally down on the backside. So no raid coming there. Keep drops also coming in. So Anno starting to lay down the border here. Can he do this? I mean, he did just unlock an extra 8k gold. There's potential. I do think that Zhuge in Imperial Age is quite scary now. Kind of being slept on. Because usually we're seeing them focus on this fast castle builds, but in the late game, they're not really a pushover anymore. You know, the Dali horses, the cavalry buffs overall, the value they have in the meta right now, I actually quite like the state of Zhuge if they have to play Imperial. Ones if you think Dumu's going to win this. Twos if you're voting for Anatan. Because this game has swung quite a bit. Anno now out onto the island, so plenty of gold to work with. Dumu now going for a second TC. Could reinflate here. Nest of Bees being prepped by Anatan. Now, if he creeps these up, especially if he supervises, gets 4 of these together, you could almost kill this entire archer ball. Keep defense out of the way. I feel like we're heading towards Imperial here. Weirdly enough for both players, but Dumu doesn't have the stretch to justify that, right? He's saving for it. It's probably going to be a Fort the Huntress. But Anatan has the Zerg ready to go. That's the difference. Military Academy also coming, so ready to replace losses. Where does he go from here? For the Huntress, it almost feels like it would need to be quite far forward, maybe towards the Sacred Site. But that does leave your base open. Archer meta is disgustingly boring. Is it really, though? Are ranged units being viable disgustingly boring compared to melee units chasing after each other and never being able to touch each other? Just food for thought. And whoopsie, Dumu. He felt an urgent need to make a move, and it just cost him. Big clump down on his units, and now on top of that, Temple of the Sun is coming in, so Anatan is about to have that divine divine haste, rather, to counterattack. Dumu has to react with his own tech. Tricky part here is you can't really get your tech ups as quickly as the Zhuji can. Supervision in, and Zhuge new upgrade done in 15 seconds. Good lord. Make it be reasonable. Look at this. 15 seconds to get a blacksmith deck. Come on. For the Huntress on the front line, Dumu really feeling this urgent need to take control of the center of the map. Can't have it too far back. 17 villages now building, but Anatan, his Anno senses are tingling, and he's going to see it. Dumu, no, he has to cancel. He can't defend this. He's actually trying to build it. No, that's it. Dumu. Tech's going to get denied. Chi-Chi's going to get called. We are getting a game free between these two. It looked like it was going Zhuji, but Ben twice in this game somehow made it look like there was a way back. What do you think of this game, guys? I mean, this was crazy, right? I think that keep drop had me believing for a second that with the extra 8k, he could maybe make it happen. But these Zhuji all-in aggro play outpost rushes seem to be the bane of people's existence on Scarguard.